This video is for entertainment purposes only. Do your own research.
Solomon says that God answered his prayer and sent an angel down with a ring to give him a ring, and that ring gave him power over the spiritual world.
At this point, Murdery's living a pretty good life off the money he steals from these unsuspecting backpackers. But he knows he's gotta keep moving before people get suspicious that all these backpackers around him are dying. So, Murdery invites this Dutch couple he met in Hong Kong to come visit him in Thailand.
Welcome back to another episode of Quik Reaction TV. Tap that like, subscribe, and the bell so you won't miss an upload. Let's get straight to it. Quick!
Want some easy cash? Simply rob sex offenders. Their addresses are very easy to find, and they also can't own guns. Unethical tips that will make you rich. To make your taxes less, fire a gunshot near your house every few days. That will keep your property value and taxes low. If a service dog ever approaches you, that means that their owner is in trouble, so you need to follow it because you'll get an easy free wallet. Do you know that there is a trick to watch any movie or TV show for free? Simply type the name of the movie and then the word index or parent directory after it. If you don't want to pay your parking garage ticket, simply get a ticket when you get in and another new one right when you want to get out. Many parking garages have spare time of around 20 minutes, so you won't get charged anything. If you want to trespass, simply bring a dog leash, so if anybody asks you why you are there, you will just say that your dog ran off. When you go to the luggage claim at the airport, have one of your friends take the luggage, then go to the reception and tell them that your luggage didn't come. They will most likely give you some cash for compensation.
Bro, you need to stop these stupid videos.
Make sure to like and follow to get more content like you.
That's exactly how I felt weak as soon as I saw this. I'm not advocating anybody do it, but good advice? Let me know down in the comments below.
Okay, some major breaking news. Last night, we just witnessed one of the most serious escalations to all-out war in the Middle East. Both the leader of Hamas and a top Hezbollah commander have been killed within hours of each other. Israel have not claimed responsibility for the leader of Hamas, but they have for the Hezbollah commander, saying that it was in retaliation for a strike Hezbollah carried out on a football pitch that killed 12 Israeli children and teenagers on Saturday. But here's the thing that is worrying leaders around the world right now. Currently, Israel is only at direct war with Hamas. But last night's assassinations were carried out in Lebanon and Iran, to which Iran's supreme leader has responded, "It is our duty to take revenge and severely punish the Zionist entity for the assassination in Iran, because the assassination was carried out on our soil." Israel's Minister of Defense then said, "We don't want war, but we are preparing for all possibilities." And then Israel also today increased the security of their Olympic athletes in France and Israeli embassies around the world. The US said that they are trying to calm things down, but they will defend Israel if they are attacked. The UK told British nationals in Lebanon to leave immediately or risk becoming trapped in a war zone. And I mean, on that note alone, the terrifying prospects of all-out war between Israel and Hezbollah is that Hezbollah's forces and weaponry are embedded in civilian infrastructure, and as a result, an attack on them could kill tens of thousands of Lebanese. And I mean, here's the thing. Every world leader right now is saying the same thing. They're saying, we don't want things to escalate, and we do not want all-out war. But every single day, we're waking up and the complete opposite is happening. So, of course, I'll keep you guys updated and hopefully with some good news.
Emotional damage.
Special thanks to all the service members that are being deployed and now have to go to these other war zone countries. Bless you and bless your families. That's all I got to say on that one.
You name these 10 movies by their logos. Only an expert can guess the last one. First one, let's go. Batman. Second one, Superman. Third one, Transformers. Press like if you guessed the first 3 correctly. Fourth one, Jurassic Park. If you haven't already, press the follow button for more daily quizzes. Fifth one, Avengers. Sixth one, James Bond. Seventh one, Incredibles. Share this with a friend who can't get 10 out of 10. Eighth one, cars. Ninth one, Toy Story. Don't forget to mention your score in the comments. Last one, Trolls.
You got me.
I got 9 out of 10. I'm not going to tell you which one I got wrong. But y'all let me know if y'all got 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 down in the comments below. This is a public service announcement. Tap the like button. Also, subscribe if you haven't already. And come back to join me on my next episode. Quick.
Solomon says that God answered his prayer and sent an angel down with a ring to give him a ring, and that ring gave him power over the spiritual world. And Solomon uses it in what seems to be an attempt to help humanity. He claims that he used the authority of the ring to summon all the principalities of the world, the Nephilim, that are these disembodied spirits going around causing all this illness and different things. And he does several things. He interviews them as to what they hate, what casts them out, and like what angel is over them, that they, if that angel comes, they'll flee. Michael or Raphael or whatever, right? He writes all this stuff down, and this becomes witchcraft. For instance, one of the demons told him, I was in the land of Persia or whatever, but I left because someone was cooking fish. A fish gallbladder burning over an open fire drives me nuts. It's like putrid to me because I'm a water-based demon, and something like we don't smell burning things underwater, and so seeing it in the open air just makes me want to vomit, and so I left. Solomon's like, that's interesting information. I'm going to write that down. So if you want to repel a water demon, burn the gallbladder of a fish over an open fire in the month of June on a full moon or whatever. And that became a spell, which is where witchcraft comes from. Does that make sense?
It does.
The pentagram they use in their prayer circles is an homage to the Ring of Solomon. Solomon called it a prayer circle. He used to use the names of God, Adonai, and different powerful names of God to keep the demons from getting to him while he's playing these games with them, interviewing them. He would summon them, milk them for information, forcing them to comply with the ring, and then basically saying, okay, you go over here. He would enslave them to build the temple of God. That's why they think all these rocks, the pyramids and stuff were built by these types of things. So the Masons come out of this as well. One of the highest ranking demons that Solomon enslaves to be a worker in the temple, he makes him a stone cutter and a mason, which is where the Masonic order seems to come with this demonic. Does that make sense? It's like all tied together. So Solomon summons all these guys, writes down a list of everything they hate based on starts to categorize and map out the spiritual world for the sake of humanity being able to control them. Because at this point, these things are running around tormenting the world. Solomon's trying to get a hold of it. So he's basically the sorcerer supreme, if you think of it like that. But he realizes that you can enslave the entire spiritual world if you get their bosses. They have to follow. And now you've cleared the world of demons, and guess what he trapped them in?
What?
A brass vessel, a lamp. This is where the legend of genies comes from. It's also the idea of Pandora's box. All the evil of the world trapped in one little bitty vessel, right? He throws it into the lake, drowning them. The world prospers. His kingdom prospers. Everything's good. No evil, no wars, no nothing. Humanity, hearing the legends of this, start trying to dive the sea to figure out how to get this lamp back up so they can release these things so that they can manifest. This is like literally manifestation. That's why it's so dark and deep. Very ancient roots to these things. They want stuff. These things have power, and while they were horrible and tormenting us, they also gave us what we wanted if we worshiped them, right? So they opened Pandora's box. Solomon's still in control because of the ring, but at this time, and this is where Balaam comes back in, guess what they did to trip up Solomon? They sent a woman to cause him to fornicate, who forced him as a literal prerequisite to sleeping with him, you have to worship my foreign god. They always try to get God to punish us through our sin because they can't curse us because of the authority we have in Christ. So they released Pandora's box. Solomon's still in control, but now he's being tempted to, if you want to marry the queen, I think it was the Queen of Sheba, you have to worship Moloch. So he sacrifices to Moloch, and he said the second he did it, he said, I immediately felt the Spirit of God depart from me. He said, as I continued to do it, I felt it completely abandon me. and I became the sport of the demons I once controlled. Spent the rest of his life tormented by demons and giving into all these different things. Now that God wasn't protecting him, he became a master of witchcraft to try to force these things to not be able to. He tried to take it into his. It's like, God's abandoned me. They're going to kill me. They're going to ruin my life. I have to figure. And so he comes up with all these spells he wrote. I remember so and so said he hates gallbladders, and so he started, get me 3 gallbladders of this, and he basically became a sorcerer in order to ward off the demonic world, which is now at his doorstep. And this is the birth of witchcraft. Solomon really perfected the art of the modern occult through his desperation to ward off the spiritual world after God left and abandoned him.
If Jesus can't save these hoes, why are you trying?
This guy, let's call him Murdery. And Murdery, he likes to murder people, I guess. But he doesn't start out that way. He starts out just robbing people. He steals things, he breaks into cars, stuff like that. And one day, he flies over from France to Thailand with his girlfriend. And once he's there, he's got this whole scheme to scam mostly Western tourists. And he befriends them, and then he spikes their food and drinks with sleeping pills or some other pill to make them sick, and then he robs them of their passports and money. So, while he's there in Thailand, Murdery befriends this American woman, a backpacker. And he befriends her, and he drugs her, and he goes to rob her, but I guess he decides that robbing her isn't enough, and he ends up throwing her in the ocean to drown. Oh, but he doesn't stop there. Because soon after, he unalives another tourist, but this time he burns the body and leaves it on the side of the road. But that tourist's girlfriend, she notices he's missing, and she goes to Murdery and she's asking him, I guess, too many questions, and then Murdery drugs her and he drowns her too. Now, at this point, Murdery's living a pretty good life off the money he steals from these unsuspecting backpackers. But he knows he's gotta keep moving before people get suspicious that all these backpackers around him are dying. So, Murdery invites this Dutch couple he met in Hong Kong to come visit him in Thailand. And of course, when the couple gets there, Murdery drugs them and he strangles them and burns them alive. Once they're unalived, he takes their passports and he and his girlfriend use them to flee Thailand and head all the way over to Nepal. While in Nepal, Murdery befriends a Canadian guy and an American woman, and he stabs them and he burns them. Now, these 2 murders in Nepal, they'll become important later. Anyway, once he gets their passports, he and his girlfriend go back to Thailand, and from there, he flees by road all the way to India. And once he's in India, Murdery continues his string of crimes. He unalives yet another guy, and then he uses the guy's passport to travel to Singapore, and then back to India, and then Thailand again. And I mean, nobody is safe when it comes to Murdery. One time, he's just trying to rob someone and he accidentally gives them too much poison, so they die. And another time, his close friend, who had helped him commit some of these murders, I guess they have some kind of falling out, and so Murdery just gets rid of him. And the friend is never seen again. Ever. I can't even name all the crimes this guy did. But anyway, one day Murdery is back in India, and he gets this crazy idea. He's gonna try to rob 60 people at once. A bunch of French engineering students that he had just met in New Delhi. And so he puts drugs in 60 water bottles and he starts handing them out to these students. He's trying to drug them. And a bunch of the students drink it, but the drugs start working too fast. And by the time Murdery is finishing handing out these water bottles, the first students who drank, they're starting to pass out and fall unconscious. So then some of the other students realize what's happening, and I guess they're able to overpower Murdery, and they call the police. And the police come, and then bam, they arrest him. And he gets 12 years in prison for poisoning and robbing the engineering students, and they try to convict him for some of the murders he did in the past, but the conviction is ultimately overturned due to lack of evidence. Now, while in prison, Murdery still has a big problem. He's now wanted back in Thailand on suspicion of several of those murders he committed. So Thailand wants to extradite him as soon as he's out of prison in India. And while he'd be there in Thailand, he would probably get the death penalty. And Murdery, he doesn't want the death penalty. So he comes up with a plan to stay in Indian prison much longer. And he goes and he gives prison guards some candy laced with sedatives. And those guards eat it and they pass out. And while they're passed out, he just straight up walks out of the prison. Like, that's how he escapes. But then he allows himself to be caught. And because of that, because of this little escape, they sentence him to another 10 years in that Indian prison, which is perfect for him because by the time he'll be released, the 20-year statute of limitations will be up for all his crimes in Thailand. So he won't be extradited there and he won't get the death penalty. It's pretty slick. So anyway, many years pass and Murdery serves his full term and eventually they let him out. And now he's in his 50s, and it seems like he's never going to be convicted for any of those murders he did in the past. Until 6 years go by, and he's out of prison now. And one day, for some reason, Murdery decides to take a little vacation over to Nepal. Here's the thing about Nepal. Murdery is also wanted there too, for unaliving that Canadian guy and that American woman 30 years before, those two that I had mentioned. And Nepal has no statute of limitations on murder. So while he's there vacationing, bam, Murdery gets arrested. And he goes to trial and he gets sentenced to 20 years in prison, and 19 years later, he gets out. So the dude is out now. And at some point, he sells the film and book rights to his life story for $15 million. So this guy is a serial killer and he's now out of prison and he has $15 million. Fuck my life.
What?
Y'all let me know in the comments how y'all feel about this one. You go look it up and see that it's true and you still like.
What? What the fuck?
There it is, Quik Crew, another rabbit hole to share with a friend. Please like, comment, subscribe so we can do it again. Remember, keep God first, respect your parents, and love your kids. And I'll see you in the next vid. Quik!